Hey, Queen, it's the first ever Gathering of the Queens meetup. Yes, in person, Thursday, May 29th at 7 p.m. All the details are in the show notes and in the description box on YouTube. So if you live in the Louisville, Kentucky area or surrounding area or even Southern Indiana, you are welcome to gather with like-minded women who are walking boldly in purpose, in their calling, taking on that kingdom identity and wearing it well. It's going to be such a beautiful night of fellowship, laughter, joy, and it's informal, right? It's informal, but I do plan to share my heart and we'll see what else Holy Spirit has to say. I can hardly wait to see you. Again, that's Thursday, May 29th, 7 p.m. If you've been looking, yearning, desiring to connect with a group of women that are full of faith and walking closely with God, then this is an opportunity for you to get connected. Email me. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, check the show notes. Check the description box on YouTube, or description, you call it box, on YouTube to register, and register because there is a capacity limit. So I want to make sure that you are in the room. All right, I'll see you soon. Hey sis, welcome to Her Renewed Mind. I'm your host, Dr. Candice, and this episode, it's such a treat. There is some goodness going on in our lives, and I'm here to celebrate it. And when I say our, I'm talking specifically about my daughter and me. I'm celebrating me. So when you hear this episode, if you listen to it on the day that it's dropped, then this coming Friday is Kyla's graduation from high school. OMG, or if you're watching this as a listening. But I know we have some YouTube viewers, so thank you so much, my YouTube viewers. Become a subscriber. Amen. And if you're listening on audio, please follow on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you're listening, so that you can get updates and know when and see the download of the next episode. So yes, so this coming Friday, or this Friday, when you're listening to this, Kyla will graduate from Louisville Collegiate School, a private school here in Louisville, Kentucky. And she has been at Collegiate for 10 years. She started there in third grade. And I can hardly believe that she's graduating. I haven't boohoo cried, but I've definitely had my moments of reflection. And I thought, you know what? Coming off our last episode and talking about parenting through transition, and something that kept ringing loud, what Whitney said, and I think I even put it in the caption when I posted online, she kept saying, it gets sweeter. It gets sweeter. And I hold on to that. I treasure that because let me tell you, this journey with Kyla and school and watching her flourish, even, through the challenges, and I may get to talk about that in this episode or maybe in the next episode, it has been sweet. I can say that it has been sweet. And so it's going to be sweeter. Listen, we're going up. So I'm going to take this episode and the next episode as we close out May, and it's dedicated to my dear daughter, my sunshine, Kyla. I imagine maybe she'll listen to this 5 years, 10 years from now and just, have a good time listening to her mom talk about her and talk about the journey. And so I want to give a testimony about Kyla being at Louisville Collegiate School, a private school. She started out actually at the elementary school that I attended. So I'm an alum of Price Elementary. Price Elementary is located literally in my backyard. I can hear the bell when it rings. I can hear the students doing the announcements in the morning. And so what a treat, right, to live really in back of the school. And there's a sidewalk in back of my house where students who attend Price walk. And I definitely walked Kyla to school. My parents were so helpful in doing that as well on days that I need to leave out early or even picking her up. So that was a treasure, right? To like literally walk to school and to be able to say, hey, my school's right here. I'm a neighborhood kid. I go to the school in the neighborhood. And so I didn't really know much about Collegiate. I had heard about it before. I didn't know, I was about to say, I didn't know anybody who went there, but I did have two friends. One had a daughter there, just a few years older than Kyla, and a close friend of mine, her nephew was there, and he is just a year younger than Kyla. He's no longer there. And then my friend's daughter has since graduated. She graduated, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, so a little bit older than Kyla. So Kyla's classmate started at Collegiate in kindergarten, and they both attended a daycare right up the street called KinderCare. And I remember when it was time to think about elementary school, that my friend, or Kyla's friend's mom, so my friend said, Candice, apply for Kyla to go to Collegiate. I'm applying for my daughter to go to Collegiate. I don't want her to be the only one, or she can be with Jordan. And basically what she was saying is that, Jordan would have someone who looks like her, because Collegiate at the time did not have a lot of diversity. It was mainly students who identify as Caucasian at Collegiate. And so I kind of laughed at her saying that, but I was like, I'll look into it. And so I think I took a tour at the time, or maybe I just went ahead and applied. Kyla went in and took an assessment test and got into Collegiate. She actually got into Collegiate for kindergarten. I got nervous because Collegiate costs money. It's a private school, and actually one of the most expensive schools in Kentucky, really like paying college tuition. And so I remember sharing it with my parents, and I remember, and I'll be honest, my dad saying, oh, she can just go to Price. I can take my granddaughter to school. I can walk her to school. And so that was that. And so I, really put Collegiate kind of to the back. I don't even know if Kyla remembered that I applied at the time, because she was so young. I mean, 5, 6 years old. And so she went to Price Elementary and had a great, great, great experience, kindergarten and first grade. And I was at the school, very involved, PTA, knew the principal well, knew everybody. And I really, that's just the type of person I am. I love to connect, as you all know. And so, especially for my daughter, I knew that I was going to be that mom that was very involved. And I wasn't going to be the mom that people didn't want to see that came into school. I was the mom, and I think I came off this way, that the teachers and administrators were happy to see, because I wanted to be a help, not just to Kyla, but for every student there. So I did what I could in terms of helping and supporting the school. And then second grade was totally different. I really felt like there was a lot of behavior, students not behaving as they, not behaving in the right manner. And so the attention was focused on those students. And I really felt like Kyla and other students didn't get the attention that they needed. And then there was promises that the students who were excelling would be pulled out for gifted and talented, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Kyla tested into gifted and talented. That never happened. I was just very frustrated, because Kyla would come home and I'm like, okay, what'd you do today? And she's like, oh, I learned the latest dance. And I'm like, what? Like, dance. Like, you're going to learn a dance, but that is not what I expect for you to say that's the only thing you're learning at school. And so honestly, I just knew I need to do something different. I knew that third grade was testing, and I just felt like the way that Kyla was wired, the way that she was gifted, that she needed a more challenging environment and a smaller environment. And so I remember pouring out to two dear friends of mine. We were sitting on my couch having a Bible study, and I'm grateful that I could share what was going on. We talked not just about scriptures, right? But we were talking about life, and even applying the word of God to our life. And I'm grateful for the encouragement. So I was just telling them all the things that I wasn't happy, and, thinking about pulling Kyla out of school and going to another school. And so I don't know how I just brought up Collegiate, but I'm like, oh yeah, I applied for her in kindergarten. And they were like, what? And she got in, and I was like, yeah. I'm like, Candice, apply again. And I'm like, oh, I could. And I knew Collegiate was a strong school. I knew it was strong academic. I already knew, and again, my friend's daughter who wanted Kyla to go there, she was there in second grade at the time. I had other people, as I mentioned, that had, kids there. And so that night, I got on Collegiate's website, and I read and I read and I read. I learned about the new head of school at the time. I reached out to my friend whose daughter had been there since kindergarten and got all the information from her. I talked to my friend whose nephew was there. I became a student of Collegiate. I found out all about it. I took another tour, a private tour, and then Kyla even shadowed there, and she was able to shadow with her friend that she was in daycare with. And I remember, like she was kind of like, why am I going to school? Because her school was out of school. So it made sense for her to go when she didn't have school and she didn't have to wear a uniform. She could wear, her regular clothes. And she's like, where am I going? And, I was like, you're going to see the school and remember your friend, you're going to see her. And she's like, okay. And when I picked Kyla up, she was like, the lunchroom is like Golden Corral, which is hilarious because at the time they had an older lunchroom and the younger students all sat together. It was more family style where they would bring all the food to the students to the table. So I thought that was hilarious. And so applied again. Kyla got in and she was awarded a beautiful financial aid package. And I was so thankful because I believed it was God and that made it possible for Kyla to go. And so it was a big step of faith to do something different. And even thinking about the diversity that wasn't where I probably would have liked it to be, but I thought, you know what? I want Kyla to be able to walk into any room and own it. And I may have said at the time, like I wanted her to be comfortable. And what I meant by that is that walk into the room and know that she belonged there, even if she was the only one that looked like her there, or if she was the only girl, right? Or she didn't know anyone else in the room. I wanted her to walk in and know that she's a light and that she can maneuver in any space. I saw that in her and I really saw it as a way to expose her to different environments. And so I'm grateful. And Kyla did just that. She had a wonderful third grade year and I think just a great experience. And I believe she had the perfect teacher. Shout out to Miss Davis, who has since retired from Collegiate. And she was old school. She actually reminded me of my mom, and Kyla and I would talk about that all the time. She did not play. And I really believe that Kyla needed that structure. I needed that old school mentality starting collegiate. She definitely, I remember, getting messages about Kyla talking, and I'm like, yeah, she gonna talk. But Kyla, she did so well. It's like she had been there. And I'm so, 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 so grateful. And I remember, just thanking God and also thanking my sister friends for encouraging me to go ahead and apply to Collegiate. And at the time, and I think you all know this, I was working as an outreach counselor. So I was visiting a lot of schools, public schools, private schools, homeschool consortiums. And so I had this view of so many different environments and meeting with a lot of families, a lot of students. And something that I shared with families is that you have options. You are getting to know your child even more. So get to know them and know that if this is not the best environment for them, let my story be a testimony. Take them out of that environment and go get them in a better environment. Now, it may not have everything, right? All the I's dotted, all the T's crossed. But as a parent, of course, the first schooling should be at home. And then the school that they go to for kindergarten through 12th grade should be a supplement to what they are learning in your home. And so I felt like I preached that message a lot. And especially because I was able to go in at different types of schools, I could let families know, like, hey, there are amazing schools, and there's amazing schools that are going to be a great fit for your student. Know what makes your student tick, know what they need, study them, right? Our role as parents is to steward them, right? It's to train them up in the way that they should go. And when they're old, they won't depart. And so a part of that training is paying attention to their giftings and their talents and exposing them to different activities, different environments that's going to continue to cultivate those gifts that are inside of them. And that's what I was excited to do with Kyla, and not just with her like formal schooling through collegiate, but also in her extracurricular activities through dance, through theater. She did gymnastics. I mean, she had a wealth of activities because I saw those giftings in her and knew about those programs, learned about those extracurricular programs, and got her, was blessed to get her in those programs. And so I remember when I was, what I thought was so cool, like Kyla was beginning a new chapter. That was 2015 when she started third grade. And I also was starting a new chapter because I decided to go back to school and get my doctorate. So Kyla was starting a new school. I was starting a new school. And so we had that, we could compare, what we had going on. And I thought, which was such a gift, and I know it was God, is again, I love connections, right? So for my orientation for my doctorate program, excuse me, at Spalding University, we're sitting around like a boardroom table and people are coming in. We're getting to know one another on this day of orientation. And in walks the new head of lower school that just got hired and started the same time as Kyla. And I just met her. We had just had orientation for Kyla's school, I think like 2 days before. And then 2 days later, I'm at Spalding and in walks her, what they call the head of lower school, basically the principal of the lower school program. And I just shook my head and I'm like, God, you are so good. And so shout out to Dr. Bridgewater. She took such good care of Kyla and we had a relationship because we were in school together. So that just took it to another level. And then the second point of connection is that the head of school at the time, Dr. James Coyotes White, his wife, Dr. Miss Deline, yes, Coyotes White, she was one of my professors and like a treasure and a jewel. So her husband was head of school for I think 2 years when Kyla was there. And then she was my professor, I want to say my last semester in classes at Spalding. I was like, God, you're just too good. So I saw that as confirmation again that Kyla was right where she was supposed to be and that she was going to be just fine as she matriculated through school, through lower school, through middle school, and then upper school. And like I said, now she's graduating from high school on this Friday, which is so precious to me. And so there were challenges, you know, Kyla not doing so well in certain subjects. I'll probably talk about what happened in middle school. I'll save that for the next episode. But through it all, I knew that she was right where she was supposed to be. And we just had to lean on God and lean on resources. And I had to continue to encourage Kyla, even encourage myself through it all. And I would say, and I think one of her teachers today, because I was at her school, I'm recording this, and on this day, I was at Kyla's school for award ceremony and capstone project presentations and clap out, all the fun, like end of the year senior activities. And I was telling one of her teachers that this year has been Kyla's best year. Like literally, it has been a culmination. I haven't seen senioritis. She's probably felt like it, but for me, I've seen Kyla go in and give it her best in everything, in class, on the stage, in the hallways, being Senate secretary and other activities that she was involved in, leading Collegiate on camera where she was taking video and pictures of things that were going on in the upper school, supporting her friends by going to their events, sporting events. I've seen Kyla soar this year. And then all the things that come with being a senior, working on capstone. She took 2 AP classes this year, AP psychology and AP Spanish. And even driving more. She was blessed to get a car this year. Just all of those milestones that she turned 18, that Kyla hit. Man, she's rocked it. She has. And I'm so proud. Early on in the school year, it was probably August, September, and I was sitting on the couch. And I think Kyla had asked to go somewhere. And I was like, yeah. And I really was at peace. I was just sitting back and I felt like Holy Spirit said in that moment, this is your reward. And I looked around like, yes, it is my reward. I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor, all the pouring, right, that you do as a parent, if you're a parent or your auntie or you're a grandparent, right? All the things you do to ensure that your student is well taken care of, right? Making sure there's food in the refrigerator, taking them to practice, helping them with the project, doing the interview, holding the camera. Did a lot of that for Kyla, holding the camera, drawing the outline, listening to her, helping her go over her lines, just all the things, checking in with teachers, checking her grade, all those things. Like, I just did it. I just did. There were times I didn't want to, and I feel like I expressed more this year, like, and she knew what was up. And then other times, it's like, you know what, she needs my help. Let me just go ahead and do it. But all those things that you just do, and then to see your student make good decisions, and you know that you know that you know that they're okay, that they are okay, that they're safe, right? That they are using wisdom, that they're hearing your voice in their head and the voice of God in their head. Like, this is the way that I should go. And I just thank God. I thank God. I thank God. He is so good. And I thank him because truly I have been able to do what I've done with Kyla and be her mom and pour in because God has strengthened me. It's his strength. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? Philippians 4:13. I have done all the things in terms of parenting, in terms of stewarding the gift that Kyla is through Christ. Through Christ who strengthens me. And it's been just a beautiful flow, a beautiful grace filled flow. And I thank God. I thank God. And so, of course, people are like, Candice, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And I'm like, I'm excited. I'm in awe. I'm celebrating. I'm being present. I'm taking it in. I haven't like boohoo cried, and maybe that'll come, but my tears, and maybe I'm about to do it right now, I don't know, but my tears are tears of joy. Am I going to miss my baby when she goes to college in August? I am. I am because it's just been me and her. We've had this rhythm for 18 years. It's been me and Kyla, Kyla and me, right? Like in my house. We've been in this house for it'll be 16 years if I'm not mistaken in June, or maybe 17. It'll be 16 years in June. And we were in the same room when I was in my apartment for like a year and a half. And yeah, I'm gonna miss my baby, but like this chapter is coming to an end, this iteration, but I'm excited to turn the page and see what's ahead. And I know it's good. Again, it's been sweet and it's gonna get sweeter, and I'm standing on that. I'm so excited for Kyla. I'm so excited to see what she's gonna do, the friends that she's gonna meet in college, the performances, the internships, the travel. I pray that she gets to travel. I pray that she gets to study abroad and teach dance in another country. Her passport is up to date, and I'm glad I'm talking about this because we need to get on her global entry, so we'll take care of that. She just needs to do the interview. That's the last piece. We'll take care of that this summer at some point. But like she's going to continue to soar, and I am here for it. I'm here. I'm applauding. I'm congratulating. I'm standing right here on the sidelines cheering Kyla on, and she knows that I have her back. She knows that I have her back. God is faithful. He's so faithful. And so something else I want to talk about, like just a God thing, a big God wink, is that I applied for a job at Collegiate. I believe in 2019, there was an opening for a college counselor position. And I'm like, work at Kyla's school. And I might have been approached about it. I did it, end up going through with the interview, but it wasn't the right fit for me at the time. And so I stayed at Kia because I was working at Kia at the time. And I love God because I was ready to go. And I think I've told this story before, but it was a no because I applied for other positions. I'm like, okay, obviously there's still something for me to do. There's still an assignment. I'm remembering the words of my girl Anya, and she's like, bloom where you're planted. And I'm like, okay, I'm planted here for this season, so I'm going to continue to bloom. And then COVID happened, right? So I was able to be at home with Kyla, which was challenging, but then beautiful, then beautiful. And so during that time, the my classmate from high school was named the interim head of upper school. Kyla was in eighth grade. It was like May. I got the email and I screamed. I'm sure I did. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my sister from high school. This is great. Kyla, I know her. you're good. Like if you need anything, she's going to take care of you. I have a direct line of communication with your principal of high school. So I just thought this is going to make for a beautiful transition. And so I reached out to her and I sent her a text message and I was like, oh my gosh, congratulations. And she hit me back with, we need to talk. The talk turned into me accepting a position as a college counselor. So I was blessed to work for 2 years at Collegiate as a college counselor and be there with my daughter the first 2 years of her high school career. You cannot make this stuff up. I didn't know back in 2015 when I was making the decision, taking this faith step to have Kyla start a collegiate, that I would be able to be there for 2 years. And what sweet years they were. And the schedule was awesome. I was able to be off for spring break, off for the summer, right? When it snowed, I didn't have to go in. And so I just thought that it was just, and God, he told me like, I'm redeeming the time because early when Kyla was born, she was a preemie. She was born 2 pounds, 11 ounces, and she stayed in the NICU for a little bit less than a month. And I went back to work after 6 weeks. So at 6 weeks old, Kyla was in daycare. Now that's a whole testimony. It was an in-home daycare, 2 doors down, 3 doors down from my parents' house. I grew up with the family. You can't listen. God will take care of you. He will take care of you. He will put people in your path that will help you, that will pour into you, that will give you the nuggets that you need to keep going. And that is exactly what happened. So when I was able to step into that role at Collegiate and be there with Kyla, Holy Spirit told me, I've redeemed the time. And it made me think back to when at 6 weeks old, my tiny baby, I went back to work and she was immediately in daycare. And so being with her at school, our time was redeemed. I got to see my daughter. I got to interact with her friends. I got to know her teachers. And so now when I go back to Collegiate, like I was there today on the day of this recording, it's family. I know the teachers and the administrators there, and that feels good to know them, to know their family, and to know that Kyla is being cared for, which she always was. But it's almost like I had an inside view, right? I had an inside view um, with her growth there. And it's been so good. It's been so good. So I thank God for a special place like Collegiate. I thank God for all of Kyla's teachers who poured into her, who saw her, who challenged her, who saw the giftings in her and caused her to rise up. All the experiences that she had. I think about her capstone project, and she was able to teach dance to a group of fifth graders and to give back in such a precious way. Last year, as a junior, she was a part of, I think it was called Collegiate Helpers. And so she helped a JK class, a junior kindergarten class. And Kyla adores kids. And so it's almost like an internship within her school day. She took her study hall time to go and help the junior kindergarten class, who now they're kindergartners. And so they wave at her and run up to her and give her a hug around her legs. And she even got some babysitting opportunities from that. I love, and that was the beauty of being a part of a school like that, right? A junior kindergarten through 12th grade school, because Kyla got a chance to be around the littles and just pour into them and to give them what she had been given, she was able to give. And that was just so precious. It not only blessed them, but it blessed Kyla as well, and really, I think, matured her and continued to soften her heart for the littles, for the kiddos, for the kiddos. So, Kyla, I love you. I'm so proud of you. And let's get it. Go Big Blue. I didn't know I was going to be saying that, but go Big Blue. I'm definitely go Cards, but I can be both, right? I can be both because you have decided to continue your education at the University of Kentucky, one of our flagship schools here in Kentucky. And I'm so excited and can hardly wait to see what's next. But in the meantime, we are celebrating. I celebrate you. I love you, my sunshine. You are lovely. You are victorious. And you are full of grace. You're so gracious and you are graceful. And mom, listen to this a couple times if you need to, and know that you have within you the capability to steward your child or your niece or nephew in the way that they need to be stewarded. God will help you, and He will send people to be of help to you. Lean on Him and lean into that village. You can do it. You can do it. I honor you. I love you. And the next episode, we're just going to continue just me reflecting on Kyla's time in school. It'll be that next episode will be after graduation, so I'm sure I'll have more to say. I love you so much. And until next time, peace.